Right? But as a political scientist, I can tell you we have something called Dervager's law, where basically if you have a first-past-the-post system, that tends to moderate candidates anyway. It tends to moderate and limit the number of parties that you have. So I understand why this was passed. It doesn't end up necessarily being a good idea long-term, and you can create a lot of different problems because, you know, what you essentially have, you know, a lot of people call this a jungle primary. I call it like the Hunger Games primary. I mean, you've just got all these different Democrats who are trying to kill each other and slash each other and hope that they can get to the end. That's not necessarily the most effective thing you want as a party. Yes. What I have always seen is this: if you've got low ballot special elections that people are enthusiastic enough to switch seats, but 10, 15, 24% flips from how those seats voted for Trump just 2 years ago, that shows that there is a grassroots level of enthusiasm for Democrats. And I hate armchair quarterbacking him, but if you read his books, this is very clear. Donald Trump doesn't believe in any deal that does not result in some side getting fleeced. So if he sees any sort of deal, any sort of negotiation where both sides leave happy, he assumes that somebody got screwed over. Yeah. So he destroys all of these deals because he's like, wait a minute, if they're happy and we're happy, it can't be right. The only deals that work is where I go away the winner and the other person is crying. This is dangerous. The Russians have already gotten their return on the investment, right? I mean, at this point, a summit is really just an opportunity for Vladimir Putin to stunt and flex on the United States and say, look what I got, because there's not much that's actually going to get accomplished one way or another. So I think the country needs to be aware that when the president is setting up these meetings with Kim Jong-un and with Vladimir Putin, it's not to do anything other than to assuage his own ego. He wants to create a new alliance of not just oligarchs, but dictators across the world that will make him feel better about it.
And the technical term for that is the axis of autocrats.
The Constitution was not written for just a debauched human being. They had a naive assumption that we would eventually, more or less, we might elect liars, we might elect dishonest people, we might elect rude people, but we would not elect someone who fundamentally doesn't love the United States of America. And that's what we have right now. And if Congress doesn't want to do anything to stop him, and if the Supreme Court says deuces, Kennedy decides he wants to leave and leave the country to a bunch of white nationalists who want to pass the Muslim ban every 15 minutes, there is nothing we can do except vote as much as we can this fall and make sure the margins aren't slim, because that's when other people will kind of come in and mess up the numbers.
Joe Scarborough, I got a little blowback for this, but if you remember back in February, Obama had the opportunity to appoint someone to the court. He could have made a recess appointment. And that was key, especially because basically Mitch McConnell had said, we're not going to vote on anyone you pick. So we will leave an entire branch of the government completely ineffective for a year just to spite you until the election. Obama could have put someone on the court who would have been able to be there until the end of the year, regardless of who got elected. And here's why that matters. You had crucial rulings on DACA and union dues that were 4-4 splits in 2016. And had he put someone on the court, those would have been ruled in favor of the liberals, and they would have been saved now. My point, the moment Gorsuch got on this court, they were going to go after abortion. And I know people don't want to hear this, but it's been repeated all the time. Donald Trump, like you said, he's like, look, I think women should be punished for this. And 53% of white women in America voted for the guy. And they heard him say that. So clearly there's a lot of people in this country, and maybe it's just like what's happening at the border and other issues. Maybe they believe, maybe they didn't. But that's what the man said. Objects are closer than they appear. It's right here, right now. This is what's about to happen. And it may be unfortunate, but that's what people voted for.
Thanks for watching. To see more videos, click right here, and subscribe.